This episode of The Edge is brought to you by Audible.com, offering more than 180,000 titles for smartphone, tablet, and desktop. To get a free audiobook of your choice and help Trek.fm at the same time, visit audibletrial.com/trekfm. And also by Enterprise in Space, an international program of the nonprofit National Space Society. Find out how you can help science and education and become a virtual crew member aboard the NSS Enterprise Orbiter by visiting enterpriseinspace.org. And if you want to join the conversation and share your thoughts on this episode, join the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook. Just type BABEL into the Facebook search field. We look forward to seeing you there.
You're listening to Trek FM.
What have you done out there on the edge of Federation space?
Welcome, everyone, to Live from the Edge. We're glad that everybody showed up once again to another great show. Well, at least we think it's great, because we're talking about a great show.
Yeah.
And that would be Star Trek Discovery, as always.
Oh, shoot, that's what we're doing? Oh, I didn't even watch that last night.
Oh, you need to have a CBS All Access here in the States to see that.
Oh, I don't have that.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, this episode will be me telling you about it.
Yeah. No, surely. I jest. Of course I've seen it.
See, this is the thing about doing a live show. I'm correcting something in the notes. And so it's like, I can't just say, oh, wait, hold on a second. And we'll start recording here in a minute. So I'm doing the adjustments right now. I think I'm done. So now I can focus on, hey, we're doing a live show. And I'm Bruce Gibson. Welcome, everyone. And with me, as always, Brandi Jackola.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I am just fine. I have been waiting all day for this moment so that I could finally get all of this out of my system. And
you have a lot to get out of your system?
I just want to vomit everything out onto this live podcast because there's all of this discussion going on in the Babel Conference. Excuse me. Not the Babel Conference. The Babel Conference. And it's like, I want to gotta save it for the live show. I really want to say, gotta save it for the live show. So it's,
well, it started to worry me when you said you wanted to just vomit because before we started going on live, you said, I think I'm getting the flu.
Shut up. I was trying to keep that a secret, Bruce. Why did you have to out me on live? Well, it's not really television, on YouTube. Live on YouTube, man. It's not cool.
Because I'm the mere Bruce. That's why.
Oh yeah, you have a beard. So yeah, I should have figured that.
Yes, I do. I do have a beard. It's not a goatee. I should have done the goatee.
Yeah, you
maybe
really
next
should've.
time.
Yeah.
I'll do because I've had goatees before. I can do that again.
Yeah,
but
get with it.
I know. So we're going to talk about episode 12 of Star Trek Discovery, and this one is called Vaulting Ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so if anybody's joining us live on YouTube, you can join the chat there and send your comments and questions to us, and we won't read them all because there's so much going on, but we will be reading them to ourselves and calling some of them out here on the show. You can also send us tweets at Trek FM with the hashtag #LiveTheEdge. That's Live the Edge. And you can also post in the Babel Conference that Brandi mentioned earlier, the Babel Conference, BABEL, into the search field on Facebook. And you can find us if you're not a member, and we'll let you join in on the conversations. But you can post your comments there, too.
Yeah, just don't be a targ.
That's right. We like nice people. Number one rule.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also see in the chat, there is a lot of conversations about goatees even before we started saying it. And no, Lorca does not have a goatee. I don't think it's a requirement that everyone in the Mirror Universe, at least every male in the Mirror Universe, has to have a goatee.
Yeah, Mirror Stamets doesn't have a goatee.
So. Well, and Mirror Kirk and Chekhov and Sulu, they didn't have goatees.
No. So it's just one of those funny things that, people who don't usually sport facial hair now have goatees in the Mirror Universe. Thanks, Spock. It's all your fault. No, I like the Spock goatee.
Yeah, because I think Spock is the only one with the goatee in that original series episode, Mirror Mirror.
Because you would think that facial hair would be illogical for a Vulcan, but it was a whole different universe, literally.
It was. And, I have a theory, and I mentioned earlier before we went on the show, I'm going to talk about it later on the show about Lorca. And it involves that episode of Mirror Mirror. So we'll get to that in a moment. And maybe I shouldn't have said that because everybody in the chat's going to go, wait, I think I know.
Yep, now you've done it. Now they're going to figure out your theory before you even get to it.
Yes. I think Vulcans are the only ones required in the Mirror Universe to have goatees because Sarek had a goatee.
Yeah, and so did Saval.
Yep. Patrick just said that in the chat too.
Oh, yes, he did. Look right there. Mirror Saval did too. Well done, Patrick. Hey, Patrick, what are you doing here? Just kidding.
Wait, we invite people to join the live show. What are you doing? Why are you here?
I'm just kidding. He knows why. Anyway, no, just all jokes. So, theory talk. Everybody seems to be excited. So, have at it, guys. All right, then. So, episode 12, Vaulting Ambition. A little bit of a Shakespearean title there, a little. So,
what is that from in Shakespeare?
What do you think I looked it up this time? Because I actually totally didn't. And so I'm going
you brought
to.
It up, so we have to look it up.
Now.
I'm looking it up as we speak. And that's why I had to correct in the notes.
It's from Macbeth.
Oh, I love Macbeth. That's my favorite one.
Well, then you should have known that, man.
I even messed up the notes. That's why I was correcting, because in some places I put vaulting ambitions.
No, it's just one ambition. Yeah, everybody on the chat's going, Macbeth.
They're the smart ones. They should be doing this show, not us.
Yeah. You guys want to host next time? I'm just
Wait, what
kidding.
is this? Ion Tron says, I think the writer for the episode said Macbetty on After Trek. Oh, Macbetty, madame. Oh, Macbetty. That's my favorite Shakespearean play, Macbetty.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that because, to be honest, I have not had time to watch After Trek in most cases because I just haven't. So, yeah. And I heard that Jonathan Frakes was really great. So I'm going to have to go back and watch that and see. And I'm going to pay attention and see if somebody says Macbetty because if they did, fun.
I think it was just a typo.
just fun.
Just like your husband Dave says in the chat, new Summer Olympic game, the Ambition Vault.
That's my man.
Hey, you know what? We should probably dig into this episode.
Let's do that. Let's quit goofing around and talk about this baby. Okay, so first of all, something that many people have noted, this was a shorter than usual episode of Discovery.
Yes. I noticed that. My wife was watching it with me, and when it ended, I said, that seems shorter than usual. She goes, yeah, I was waiting for it to do more, and then it just ended, and I looked, it was just under 38 minutes.
Yeah, there should have been like another 7 to 10 minutes of that, I felt. But perhaps they did have that, but it got shifted to another episode because of the narrative flow was better. I don't know. But it seems odd that it ended there. And for me, whenever the credits start on Discovery at the end, I'm just all like, but I want more. So I thought it was just that. It's just me wanting more. But as it turns out, no, it was shorter. And part of that was a previously on, well, I don't know if they counted the previously on Star Trek stuff, Star Trek Discovery, in that number of minutes. But
I think it was, at least for me it was.
Interesting. So yeah, shorter, but full of things and stuff.
The chat's pointed out that even After Trek was only 37 minutes. I noticed that it was shorter too, but I didn't know it was about the same. That's really weird. I want to see an episode that's 47 minutes.
Yeah, right? Back in the day when hour-long shows were actually about 50 minutes, but that hasn't happened for about 30 years now.
Well, and the beauty of this medium in the industry, we call it OTT, over-the-top services, or streaming services like CBS All Access, Netflix, and such, is that it's almost like movies. I mean, each episode doesn't have to be the same length to fill an hour with commercials, or just fill an hour period. even if it didn't have commercials, whatever. But it's not on that kind of schedule. So you can have one episode that's 37 minutes. The next week's episode could be, 67 minutes. It just all depends on where the story takes and where they feel like the best break would work in the story to go into the next episode. Because I remember with that Game of Thrones, it works like that. Sometimes there's I think they're even talking the last season of Game of Thrones. Some of these episodes may be up to 2 hours long.
That's what I hear. And since I think there's only going to be 6 or 7 of them, that would be a good thing, because this is going to be the final season of Game of Thrones. Why are we talking about Game of Thrones? This is a Star Trek podcast.
Well, because Game of Thrones is somewhat of an influence on Discovery.
It is.
And the way it's made.
But I feel like I should point out that there are 2 levels of subscription on CBS All Access, that with the commercials and that without the commercials. And so...
which do you do?
Oh, I pay more to not have commercials, thank you.
Same here, yes.
Yeah, but Discovery isn't the only thing that I watch on CBS All Access, but it is the number 1 thing that I watch on CBS All Access.
Yes, and Young Sheldon.
I don't like Big Bang Theory, so...
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Guessing.
No, it's okay. I don't have a problem with people liking Big Bang Theory. I tried it because my sister really loves it, and I got to the 5th episode, and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm just gonna stop. So I did. And that was that. It's not like I go around bad-mouthing the Big Bang Theory, because I don't. If I don't like something... Yeah, I don't badmouth it usually. No, I'm a better person than I used to be. I started looking at my behavior towards certain things and thinking, I don't need to behave that way. If I don't like something, I can just say I don't like it and move on. Or I don't even have to say I don't like it. I just move on. I don't have to announce to the world.
The Mirror You does not do that. The Mirror You actually complains and actually murders people over things she doesn't like.
All the time. Basically, I just say, bye, Felicia, every time I stab someone in the gut, so.
You carry a big sword like Emperor Giorgio.
Yes, because who wouldn't want to carry that sword? So
what do you think of her in this episode? What do you think of the Emperor?
Oh, Lord, I love Michelle Yeoh so much.
Isn't it great to have her back?
It is so great to have her back, and she is a phenomenal actress. So phenomenal. I rarely see her playing a bad guy, so when I do, it's like some sort of special treat from the gods. And I loved every second of her and every little thing she said, every little gesture she made. Gesture that she made, and just the dramatic eye makeup. And I'm just like, oh, she just exudes power. She's just brilliant. I love watching her as the Emperor. It's a delight, and she scares me too. So, and I think that's the point.
I wonder if they hired Michelle Yeoh thinking of this part, and therefore then having her set up be the captain in the first 2 episodes. That it wasn't the other way around. It wasn't that they hired her. They didn't cast her to be the captain and then say, "Oh, great, we'll make her the emperor later." If they were like, "Oh, she'd be the perfect emperor, and therefore we'll make her captain of the Shenzhou."
I'm not necessarily sure on that. I would think that they would know that they were going to have, oh, good. It's going to be that kind of show.
Oh, here comes the flu.
I feel like that they would have known from the beginning that there is going to be a Prime Universe Giorgio and a Mirror Universe Giorgio. And I feel like they had planned from the beginning that she was going to be both of these parts. Mm-hmm. And so, and Michelle Yeoh can freaking do anything. I mean, she's proven it with her body of work. And, someone in the chat is saying something about the sword. Jim Jimison says, well, here's another one. She was ruthlessly brilliant as the Emperor. I mean, I couldn't take my eyes off her. Every moment she was on the screen, I was fixated with her. Yes. And our friend Dan, hi Dan, says that Giorgio's sword is awesome. Apparently Michelle Yeoh had some input on its design. That does not surprise me at all, because the lady knows how to use a sword.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for her to use it.
Kind of came close. but not
Yeah.
really, in a threatening way. So I was
She kind of
wondering.
she hit Lorca, but not with the sword. She did
Yeah.
something to him.
But she had it, or was that a dagger? I felt like she had that at Michael's throat.
Yeah, I think it was the other end of the dagger or something.
I think you're right. I got interrupted a few times while watching Discovery, and unfortunately have not had a time to rewatch it. And so there are some things I don't remember as clearly as I would like. And again, I apologize to everyone I shouted at to leave me alone while I'm trying to watch Discovery. I'm so sorry. I could have been nicer about that. Mirror Brandi came out, and she was very angry. So,
well, I'm sorry to hear that. I will now confess, and it's not with Discovery because I haven't had this happen yet, but back in the day of Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise, anytime my parents called, I ignored their phone calls if I was watching an episode. And I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I'm sorry. But I did call you back after the episode. So on Twitter, I say we go right into these because we've kind of danced around some things, but Rebecca Skipper has brought several questions. I'm not going to throw all her questions out right away, but they're really good ones and the things I wanted to talk about too. So we find out in this episode that Lorca is indeed from the Mirror universe. And so her question is, where is Prime Lorca? And I think we know the answer to that.
I don't think that we know the answer to that.
Oh, I think we do.
No, I don't think we do know for a certainty, because we know the Buran was destroyed, but we don't have any complete, irrefutable evidence that our Prime Lorca was on that ship. Because honestly, I don't know what to feel about this, because I can't believe that they would only hire someone like Jason Isaacs, who has just been brilliant this whole series, and only give him one season. And so I just don't know what is in store for Lorca, and I'm not necessarily willing to bet that Prime Lorca is dead, because I don't know.
That's interesting. I think 99.9% that he is dead, that he went down with his ship. And when Mirror Lorca came, he said, yeah, no, I actually survived. And that's why in a previous episode, it was mentioned, like, when he first met Ash Tyler in that Klingon cell, it was mentioned how, the history of Lorca is that, he was the captain that abandoned his ship. See, I'm having problems too. He abandoned his ship. All crew members died except for him. And I think it's that our Prime Lorca did die with his crew and his ship, but the Mirror Lorca is trying to replace him by saying he didn't go down. But we'll find out, hopefully.
I guess.
But the first time we will actually, if Prime Lorca is alive, if he's alive, and we don't meet him this season, we will meet him for the first time in the Discovery novel that's coming out in a few months. Because that novel takes place a decade before with Lorca and
This is very
Georgiou.
true. This is very true.
And we'll cover that on
As
Literary Treks.
Thought that you would. So it's a book, so obviously. So
Now Tara says, any chance that Mirror Lorca is responsible for the Burnham being lost? The Buran
I don't know.
Lost?
I just really don't know, because we don't know what happened. We don't know what really happened to the Buran. So I don't know. I just feel like I can't make a supposition on that, because there was so little said about it, really, that I don't know.
I do.
Okay.
Look, this all plays into my theory that I'm going to do later.
Yes.
And you see, I'm wearing a hoodie. When I get to my theory, this is coming off.
Oh,
Just to
I
say,
see.
like, I'm laying it down.
I see.
I've done a lot of thinking because I was talking to my wife before the show, and she just listened to me blabber on. Okay. She did too, by the way. So she was helping me through it. Hey, where was that other question? Okay, so why did L'Oreal kill Vogue, or did she? And that's one thing I wanted to know. So we see Tyler, he's in sickbay. Saru brings L'Oreal in because only she can help. So only she can cure whatever's going on with Voke Tyler, and it appears that she kills Voke and Tyler because she does the Klingon scream. Is that what you assumed, or is that what your takeaway was?
No, actually, this is my opinion, and I could very easily be wrong, but it seemed to me like there is no way that she would kill Voke, and I think she took Voke into herself.
Oh, so she took Voke's
katra and put it in her own head.
See, that's
her own body. So that's what I came away with, because I thought they went through hell to set all of this up to turn Voke into Ash Tyler and all of this. She's not just going to suddenly abandon that quest, and neither would Voke. So.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I was having an issue with it. I thought that was just too quick of it's not working out, I'll just get rid of Voke and kill him. The fact that there were all these flashbacks to him kind of suggested to me that she was really mourning him, and then she screamed. But as Wayne mentions in the chat, that maybe Voke isn't dead. Or she could be deceiving us and the crew of Discovery. And maybe she just did something in Ash's brain to help fix the problem, but Voke is still there like he was in past episodes. It could be,
because I do not in any way think that she would give up on Voke that easily. Not even for the apparent suffering of the body in which she was trapped. I just really don't feel like she would just so easily do that.
Well, because she would also be doing that if she did remove Voke or kill Voke within that body, which really is Voke's body, just been re-engineered. She's now gone through, well, I'll just allow Voke become Ash Tyler forever. And that just seems like a really odd thing, that she would know that Voke's body is now really just Ash Tyler, and that Voke within his own body is dead. I don't know. But at the same time, I like it because if Voke is dead, we have Ash Tyler. Like, permanently. He will be just Ash Tyler, and he can continue to be a member of the Discovery crew. It's not really his body. It's a Klingon's body that's re-engineered to be his, and we still have Ash.
Yes, because they used his DNA to rebuild his consciousness, his memories, all of these things. So what makes a person a person? I think that's what it comes down to. Is Ash really a person now? He has a body, he has his memories, he has his own feelings, his own behaviors, but is he still a real person? Or is he just a construct?
Yes, he's a construct. He's not the original. He's not Tyler. You're right. I mean, he's not the original Ash Tyler. But then, gosh, we've gone through so many things like this in Star Trek. Sometimes we don't even have
and there's a whole episode of Enterprise in season 3 where something similar to this happens, except it's a cloning situation, but the clone has all of the memories of the person from whom he was cloned, and he's having trouble figuring out, okay, is this the way I feel, or is this the way Trip feels? Because I have all of his memories, and I don't know whether this is my experience or his. And that can be extremely confusing. That episode made me ugly cry. There was so much sobbing.
You should do a show about Enterprise.
Oh, you know what? I am on a show about Enterprise. It's called Warp 5.
Oh, really? What's it called? Oh, that's a dedicated show about Star Trek Enterprise here on the Trek FM network. What an
excellent idea. If only I had actually gotten to come on board when they were doing that season 3 retrospective where they had that episode.
Okay. This is I'm just to let people know this. It's very difficult sometimes to do the show because I'm listening to Brandi, but at the same time I'm reading what people are saying. So it kind of throws me off a little. So sometimes I pause and go, okay, where am I right now? So Geek Filter says, I'm going back to the whole Laurel Voke stuff. He says, why the Klingon death cry? And I thought about this too. No human knows what that is. So there's no reason for her to try to deceive them with the cry. Because they would be like, okay, why is she screaming? She didn't have to.
No, she didn't.
them.
But perhaps it was a scream of pain. If my theory is correct that she took Voke's consciousness into herself, that can't be comfortable. Or maybe the procedure caused her mental strain. I didn't take it as a death cry at all. Even though I'm very familiar with Klingon death cries, that didn't even occur to me as far as why she was screaming. So,
Things to think about. Okay. Anybody else in the chat want to talk about something else? Because there's so much to talk about in this episode. So, I've started a diet. Because I have gained weight by sitting around and watching Discovery and doing podcasts all the time and eating my face out. And speaking of eating things, hey, I hear Kelpian is pretty
especially
good.
the ganglia.
Yes.
Have my ganglia.
Have some of
you
the
deserve
ganglia.
a treat.
I'll share it with you. Yes. Now,
yeah,
so
totally
that was not
it
Saru.
It totally looked like Saru to me.
Eating? Okay. I agree 100%. When I first watched it, I was like, that was Saru because she looked at the Kelpians there, which is the first time we've seen more than one. And then she points to the one that I thought was Saru. And and she would pick him because she's picking the gift, right? She wants the Saru one. But then I watched it again today. I still saw that same thing. But then I thought, well, how is Saru there? Because wasn't Saru on the Shenzhou that he gives her massages? That Saru didn't come over on the shuttlecraft that they took to come.
No, but there's nothing
Imperial
to say
Palace.
that somebody couldn't have gone over there and rounded up a Kelpian to add to the buffet list. So I don't know.
I know.
Well,
that seems a little weird. I mean, it just seems weird that they would have to travel by shuttlecraft to go over, and then somebody else goes back to their ship to get
yeah. Well, and that's
dinner.
the thing. Why take a shuttle? Don't they have transporters? Maybe it's a status thing.
Yeah, I don't
know, but you would think a traveling palace would have its own transporter pad. So why make Michael take a shuttle?
Yes. I
No,
don't know.
it wasn't
explained
explained why. And it's one of those things that annoys me. Not greatly annoys me, but if you're going to take a shuttle somewhere, you need to have a reason why you're not using the transporter, especially in this particular part of the timeline where transporter use is prevalent. It's not like in X01 days where they were afraid to use the transporter. So.
Okay. So when they were on the shuttle, they did send it into warp drive.
Okay, so maybe they were too far away to transport. I see. But
right.
No, see,
but how would Saru get on the ship
though?
to eat them?
Because
unless he has a twin brother.
Then who destroyed the rebel base? I don't want to say rebel base like that, but that's what it was. Was it the Emperor? Because if it was, then she was there. So why is she suddenly so far away that you have to warp to?
Maybe she was on a different ship and that ship went back to the palace. I don't know. That's a very good question. For the previous episode, yeah, what ship was it that was
we never saw it.
Shooting on the planet?
We never saw it. So I just don't know.
So all the Kelpians had the same face. That's what the chat says here now? Could that be that? I mean, because they all looked alike. I don't know, but
Well, it's just that not many people are as tall as Doug Jones, is all I'm saying. And he was a head above all of the other Kelpians. I just don't know.
I don't know either. But I'm not buying any Campbell's Kelpian soup. Bad.
What if it comes with ganglia?
Okay. No.
Yep.
I'm not eating that. All right, we're halfway through this, okay? Meaning time. Like, it's been a half hour, people. We've got another half hour to go.
We totally do.
So, Giorgio is Burnham's mother.
Yeah, she adopted
mother.
Burnham when Burnham's parents died. Now, they didn't go into how... Yeah, sure,
That's what
you
I
totally
always
said
said.
that in the last episode. No,
go ahead.
no,
Call
I'm
me
just,
out.
I'm
Call
just
me
saying
and Justin
we had
out.
differing
Go ahead.
opinions about how that scene was interpreted, and I said it seemed like a mother-daughter relationship, and you guys didn't feel the same way, and I could have just as easily been wrong. I just felt like it was a mother, a disgruntled mother, basically guilt-tripping her child. And because I have some experience with that in my early life. And so that's what I took from it. And maybe nobody else did, but turns out that was what it was. So
you had a personal connection
I did.
to this part of the story or these two characters.
No, if you want to hear
wanna
more about
expand
that,
more
you
on
can
that?
listen to a couple of episodes of the Edge Main Show that I did with Amy and Heather.
See, there you go. Perfect. That's why I wanted you to go there. Thank you.
You're so good. You are just leading me right into all of these, all of these pimp moments that I can just pimp my stuff. I appreciate that.
Hey, Box Bar UK says hello from the UK. Hello, UK from the US.
Welcome. You're up really late or really early. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends
So
how you
it should
look
be
at
about 2:30 in the morning. So, yeah, let's talk about this because Tara just brought it up. Is it Tara or Tara? I'm sorry if I mispronounced your first name. Tara Steiner says, how about that beautiful scene between Hugh and Paul? I cried. So did I, girl. So did I. It was one of those moments where just seeing him again, and then when he lures them into their quarters it's all in Stamets. Well, they're all trapped in the mycelium network. And they have this scene together, and I'm just like, please don't be really dead. Oh, no, he's really dead. And my heart broke at that, but...
So that confirmation when he said that he was dead, that he was no longer alive.
It was them saying goodbye.
Is that what you're saying? Or no?
And even thinking about it, I'm like getting misty. It was just like, no. So, but it gave Stamets the push that he needed to wake up and get back on track. But it was beautiful, and it was heartbreaking and hard. It was hard because I didn't want that to be... What are you doing?
I'm brushing my teeth. It was great to see them return to that, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness. And all the people...
These are my favorite moments. He should have said that with the toothbrush in his mouth. My favorite moment with you is when we always brush our
and
teeth.
it's one of those things also, everybody who thought that time when we saw them brushing their teeth, well, we saw them brushing their teeth, and then you see a mirror Stamets, you see a Stamets in the mirror, and everybody's like, oh, that's mirror Stamets. Yeah, all of you were right. All of you were right, because that was mirror Stamets trying to break through and contact Prime Stamets.
I was wondering about that too, if that's really what that was.
Oh, it was.
It appears that
Mirror
it would have
Stamets
been.
basically admitted to that. He's like, yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of you, get your attention for a long time now. So, yeah.
Well, he didn't do a very good job just standing in the mirror. He could have waved and went, "Hey, over here."
Yeah, maybe he didn't want to scare the crap out of people. He wanted to be more subtle. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to say because,
Yeah, I don't know either.
Everybody's thinking, especially our Stamets is like, trying to help Mirror Stamets. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, just no. Whatever he did to get trapped there, it is his fault and he's bad. And I was right. So.
Well, I was just thinking Stamets, the Mirror Stamets talked about, I've been trying to get hold of you. They showed some quick scenes showing examples, but they didn't show that one. And that's why I was a little wondering, like, well, now, was that really him in the mirror or not? I would think it is.
I think it is just because of the expression on his face was kind of, it was smiling, but it was kind of smug at the same time. But, I just feel like that was just an early clue. This is interesting. Patrick says, I saw a screen cap when someone pointed out the ship of Stamets' Mind had a plaque that said USS Stamets. That is adorable. That is adorable.
Oh,
I
really?
love that so much.
That is really interesting.
Oh my gosh.
I had no idea. So he's not on the Discovery.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we know he's in the Mycelium network, but when he was visualizing being on the Discovery, he actually
Yes,
had
and apparently it has his mother's birth date, USS Stamets, NCC 1019.
Wait, how do we know his mother's birth date?
Wikipedia? I don't know.
I don't know. That's just interesting.
Yeah,
Geek Filter,
explain to us,
explain.
please. So.
Even though we know who you are. It's... Okay. Sorry, again, we're reading.
Like, he told me.
We're reading.
Yeah. He told you. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We know.
Yeah. Just rub it in that you know all these people. It's fine. It's fine.
Yep, Aaron. I mean, Geek Filter. Yeah, I know. He just said it's Aaron. I called you right before it came up. Even though there's a delay. There's a delay in the video. You're going to hear me say it, but I called it before you said it. I knew who you were. I knew your Twitter handle. Anyway, if Aaron says
it's
something...
It's true. No, I totally believe Aaron because he has actually spent time with these people and he has done work for comics. Like he had an alternate cover, I think, for the second issue of the new Discovery comic that came out last year. And, he's kind of a guy in the know. And sometimes he can't talk about stuff. And so that makes it even more, he must be telling the truth. He's had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, but now he can talk about it. That's my guess. I
think you're giving him way too much
I don't
credit.
think so. He says that his issue of the comic comes out this week. So look for that alternate cover done by Aaron Harvey. So
that's good because it'll be covered
Excellent.
on Literary Treks.
You should have him on to cover that. Yeah, you really should. Yeah, do that. Literary Treks here on Trek FM.
Literary Treks. What if Lorca manipulated Terran, Stamets, and Lucas?
I think Lorca
he's stuck
is what
in
was
network.
meant there. Autocorrect.
Lorca, yeah.
So, yeah. I just don't know. I don't know that Lorca knows enough about the spore drive and the mycelium network to engineer something like that. Because he doesn't know the spores and the network the way that Michael and Stamets and Tilly do. So I'm not sure that he would have the ability to engineer that. Especially since, what reason would he have to do that? There seems to be no benefit to Lorca to do any of that, but
I feel like there's so much we don't know about Lorca and what he's doing that it's hard to even go there, you know? I mean, I agree, but yeah, I don't know. Again,
Okay,
I'll talk about my theory in a moment. It's like I'm teasing the whole show on this. My theory. Like it's some great, wonderful thing.
Well, and Lorca had me go until the end. You know, when he's in the agony booth and that guy is like, say my sister's name, say her name. And I thought, oh, he
Ava.
doesn't know the name because he's not Mirror Lorca. And then I remembered, oh yeah, he had Michael give him that analgesic. Oh no. Oh no. And then my worst fears came true. I didn't want him to be Mirror Lorca.
Yes. Yeah, I know your sister, Ava. And now I have to admit now, when he said Ava, I'm like, oh my gosh, who's Ava? Ava. I'm running through my mind. Do we know Ava? Have we met Ava before? Who's Ava? Who's Ava? And I still don't know who
either.
Ava is. Except it's that guy's sister.
No. Maybe we'll never know. Maybe it's one of those details we'll just never find out until like years from now when they do a novel about it. About Mirror Lorca.
Yes.
Please do.
Okay, I'm going to go into my theory. You ready? Because Tara just says we don't know how Lorca got to the Prime Universe, and that's what started me thinking. And this is my thought. I'm taking the hoodie off. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. So, first of all, you have Mirror Lorca, and we know that he traveled into the Prime Universe. How did he do it? We know how he got from the Prime Universe to the Mirror Universe. He was on Discovery. Now, could he have used the Discovery from the Mirror Universe to travel to the Prime Universe just to drop him off and they go back? Seems kind of weak. This is what I think. I think Lorca has... nobody wants to hear my theory, leave.
Well, I'll just be going. I'm kidding.
Because...
No.
Yeah, I'm talking to myself now. So Lorca, in the Mirror Universe, Mirror Lorca has access... For some reason, he gets access to the USS Defiant, which is from the Prime Universe. He gets access to all the records. And remember, the Defiant is from a decade earlier than where we are in this timeline. So in the Defiant, in its records, it probably shows how a year earlier in its time, how Kirk and crew traveled from their universe to the Mirror Universe using the transporter. And I think that Lorca used the Defiant's transporter to transport himself to the Prime Universe, but he no longer has that Constitution-class transporter and its configuration to send him back. But he knows from the records of the past that Discovery has a spore drive and that his doppelganger is dead. So he's able to go into our universe knowing that he can replace himself and he can use the spore drive on the Defiant to come back. And that Burnham's alive. Because all that information would be on the Defiant. Because of the Defiant's from the future.
No. I'm digesting. It's a very good theory. Because the problem with Defiant ending up in the Mirror Universe is that, what did they call it? I can't even remember what they call it, an interspatial anomaly, something like that. Interphasic space. I knew it was something along that line. I'm getting confused with spatial charges. Never mind. That's for later. Different podcast. Anyway, so, and it took such a toll on the Prime Universe crew's cognitive functions that they all went mad and destroyed themselves and each other.
Right, so you don't want to go from one universe to the other.
And Giorgio tells Michael that after Michael reveals that, hey, I'm a different Michael. Ta-da! Yeah, and we'll talk about. There's somebody else who put something up in the chat that I am going to jump on in a moment, but that's actually a very interesting theory, and it works on many, many levels with what we've already seen and what we already know. So, yeah.
Because I kept thinking, how would Lorca get from Mirror Universe to the Prime Universe? And I'm thinking if he could use the transporter from the future Defiant, that would have the information of how the transporter was used a year earlier in the Enterprise with Kirk, then he'd have a way to get there. I don't know how he knew where he was beaming himself to. But
it's a good theory, and it fits the circumstances. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if you're right, because I'm sure we're going to find out how all of this happened, because they wouldn't leave us hanging like that. You wouldn't leave us hanging like that, would you, Discovery? You wouldn't do that to us, would you?
No, they wouldn't. Unless they want us to wait till season 2, whenever that
fall?
comes out.
I hope that it's sooner than that, but there's a lot of post-production on that show. Anyway, okay, I have to go back and find the comment because I want to give the person credit. And let's see.
Please, yes.
Getting there. It's from Automated Joy. I came in late. Have we discussed the icky term groomed in regard to Lorca and Michael? No, we haven't yet. Let's discuss it now.
Oh, please. Go ahead. You first.
The way that Giorgio said it, it can be taken in more than one way. Groomed as in prepared mentally, subtly working on Burnham's mind to make her an ally. Or it could mean that he was... Well, I don't know exactly how old that Michael is, but it could have been he was fooling around with an underage girl.
I hadn't thought that.
Well, just the way that Giorgio said it, she said it in a way that was full of disgust. He groomed you.
I thought
he combed her hair and did her nails. Just like Slave Saru. That's exactly what he did. So, yeah, some people felt icky about that. I am not 100% sure that that was the intent. That was not, I don't know for sure if that was Giorgio's true meaning, but it's certainly a possibility because Lorca seems kind of grossly affectionate towards Michael.
Well, she did mention, didn't she mention that Lorca became then a father figure to
became
her?
Something more.
And then he later something more. Yeah, that was kind of icky too. And you could see Burnham's face like, what? I don't know what that thing is.
Yeah,
I don't know what that thing
pretty sure that it was, how do I say this delicately? An intimate relationship on a physical level. I think that's what Giorgio was getting at.
Yeah.
Without being completely crass. Because Giorgio is never crass, no matter what universe she's from. So.
Neo Star 9 says, so don't think anything happened while she was underage. The groomed part I took as him making her think like him.
I would prefer that. So let's go with that theory.
Okay, we'll go with that. Well, you're so accepting of
I
that
did not
theory
say
so
that
quickly,
at all. I
mine.
said that your theory was a good
earlier.
theory. I have nothing to counterpoint with, except maybe that Mirror Stamets has also been working with the Mycelium Network, but I don't think that that has necessarily anything to do with Lorca. So, because Lorca would have been, basically thrown off the Emperor's palace ship by that point and on the run. So, there's no reason why that he would have access to that unless I just don't even know. But your theory, I think, is probably the most sensible thing that fits all of the facts that we know so far.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you ever wonder where the Mirror Discovery is? I mean, it was mentioned in a previous episode that they've swapped places, that the Mirror Discovery is probably in the Prime Universe. If it is, what do you think it's doing?
No.
I mean, what kind of havoc is it causing there? It's got to be doing something. I mean, that's got me wondering too.
That's got me wondering, but we don't know that they have a spore drive. They may not have a spore drive, so they may not be able to cause as much havoc as we think.
I think they do, because I was wondering the same thing. But when we saw our Discovery make the transfer to the Mirror Universe, we saw it like split in two, and then one goes up, one goes down. So I'm assuming that means we're seeing the other Discovery using its spore drive, and they're both like transferring places.
I don't know that you necessarily need both ships to have a spore drive to create that kind of a swap. But I don't have enough information to postulate a solid theory at this time. I like your theory, so I'm going to go with that. And I'm sure at some point we'll find out whatever hell Discovery is putting people through in the Prime Universe. I'm sure we'll find out about it.
Well, I see some talk in the chat about the brightness, how people in the Mirror Universe cannot handle the light as well as we do, looking at bright light, which makes me think that Captain Picard in the Mirror Universe is like, there are bright lights.
There are 4 lights. Four lights
that he can't see.
Not 5. Just say there are 5.
That 4.
What series have we not mentioned during this Discovery podcast? I think we've hit them all. I think we've hit every single one.
I think I don't think we've given DS9 the justice yet. And they've done the most Mirror Universe episodes.
Not my favorite Mirror Universe episodes. Just I like this particular Mirror Universe in Discovery because we don't have all of these oversexed females at the forefront, and oversexualized, I should say, which featured heavily in the DS9 episodes, Kira, and in Enterprise Hoshi. And so I understand, women using sex as a weapon and all of that, but I really appreciate that we are not seeing that in Discovery, because that time is well past. Mm-hmm. We don't need to do that. We don't need to show women in that way, when obviously Georgiou didn't sleep her way to the top. She fought her way to the top, and we all know it.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think we are going to see that in any future episodes. I think
they
you're right.
Better not. They really better not, because it's just not okay. It's not okay. And I don't think any woman who likes Star Trek ever liked that aspect of the Mirror Universe. But maybe there's some who did, but I sure didn't. And I'm a woman.
And maybe some of them watched the animated series, but that's not really a real
what?
Star Trek series.
Oh, no, you did not just do that. Oh, no.
That's only for Aaron in the chat. I'm just
Don't
teasing.
listen to Bruce. Don't listen to him. He's just trying to rile you. Don't give in to hate. Oh, wait. Hate leads to the dark... No, sorry. Wrong series.
Speaking of hate, a lot of people hated Commander Landry, who was the security officer in episode 3 and 4, in those 2 episodes, and she died, and a lot of people are kind of happy. But we now see in next week's episode, we're going to see Landry.
We are, and
in the Mirror Universe.
I'm actually glad of that, because Rekha Sharma got kind of a raw deal, only getting to be in an episode and a half, basically, and then getting killed. So I am looking forward to seeing what kind of person she is in the Mirror Universe.
Don't you think that the Prime Landry, don't you think the Prime Landry, didn't she seem like a Mirror Universe character? I mean, she seemed more Mirror Universe to me than Lorca did.
Maybe she was. Maybe she came with Lorca. But then that would mean, that
But we wouldn't have the other, right?
Landry is in the Mirror Universe.
Could be.
Yeah.
But I think it's a stretch. But
yeah, I guess we'll see.
But we know that his brand crew from the Mirror Universe have been on the Imperial Palace in those agonizers for months, off and on or whatever. She's slowly torturing them, which I thought was a bit ridiculous, that if she's really torturing his crew for that many months, just seems a little overboard. Like, it seems very petty, but I guess that's...
Yes, they are very petty.
That's how these people are.
They are extremely petty. There is one question that we haven't really talked about that I hope I don't mispronounce this. Lord of Quagus brought up. And he says, he or she says, how do y'all think the mycelium network got corrupted? The only thing we really know is that Mirror Stamets corrupted it. But we don't know how, and we don't know why.
Right, but how?
And it has now spread into everything in the Mirror Universe, possibly contaminating other quantum realities as well. And I think I think Hugh did say that it could destroy the entire network. Or I might be getting confused about who said that, but somebody at some point said that, the entire network was at risk in kind of all realities. So yeah, I think that would be Mirror Stamets' only reason to want help from Prime Stamets, because he's just out for himself. That is pretty much obvious. He doesn't care about anything else. He just wants to get out of the mycelium network, and he wants to corrupt it. To what end? I have no idea. How he infected it? I don't know. These are things that are beyond my current knowledge. And I don't feel like I'm even smart enough to postulate a theory on that.
Yeah, me either. And not about you, but me too. But yeah, I mean, I would think you'd have to use something pretty powerful to destroy a network. Yes, and I just
don't know what it is. I don't know if it has anything to do with that giant glowing orb in the center of the Emperor's palace ship thing, because that's never explained in this episode. I don't know.
Yeah, what is that thing?
So many questions and only 3 more episodes in which to answer them. I doubt they're going to answer them all, but they should. They need to put a bow on a few things, and I think that they will. I'm just not exactly sure which things those are going to be, because they continue to surprise me. There are certain things, again, that I expect, and in the way they're executed, I'm like, wait, what? What? Michael's now telling her that she's from the Mirror Universe? And I do not understand. But I like that. I like that about this show. I've said it since the beginning. Surprise me. Keep on surprising me.
Well, so the chat room is just now starting to talk about Captain Killy, or Tilly, as she's really known. So I was wondering, how would you feel if we found out that Tilly all this time was from the Mirror Universe too, like Lorca was, and was deceiving everybody?
No. No, that never even occurred to me, because nobody's that good. Nobody's that good at acting. So, at least not from the Mirror Universe. No one could pull off that kind of, she's really almost completely without guile. So, it's just...
Well, she's on to discover the real Mirror Killy. Is on the Discovery in the Prime Universe right now. Is she, like, killing
my guess is that she's raising hell, because that's what Captain Killy does. But, again, I don't have enough information. They've told us none of what's happening in the Prime Universe. We've all been focused on the Mirror Universe, when obviously there is stuff happening in the Prime Universe, and Starfleet going, what is going on here? So, yeah, I don't know if they would have the same reaction as Prime Discovery did, with, basically changing everything to make themselves appear as if they are part of the Mirror Universe. I don't know if that's what Captain Killy's doing in the Prime Universe, or if they're just going around killing everything they see. I don't know. They could do a lot of damage to the Klingons, I guess.
I don't know. They'd have to spend a lot of time explaining that if they return to the Prime Universe, and what happened with the mirror counterpart. And I don't know. There's to me, we need more than 3 episodes.
I know. Well, maybe one of the episodes will be extra long to make up for the shorter one that we had yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. Well, you know what? Extra long. We're up to an hour.
We're going
a little extra long already.
We made it to an hour. I didn't have any worries about that. Oh, the orb is for the Star Killer base. Thank you, Automated Joy.
It's all connected.
They're just gonna take that, and they're just gonna slide that right into the planet. They're basically building the Star Killer base into. Yeah.
And that other Star franchise.
That one Starlog? No, it's not that. That's a Star Trek thing. No, Ship's Log? No, it's a Star... Never mind. Star Wars, that's it! I remembered. Well.
Hey, and Tara mentioned something that I also thought about too, because if Lorca is from the Mirror Universe, that means that Saru is captain of Discovery now. So he got that promotion he wanted commission, pretty quickly.
Sort of thing. But he's really still just acting captain, because there is no higher authority to officially make him captain.
That is true. And they could always, when they go back to the Prime Universe without Lorca, they may put somebody else as captain.
Oh, that would suck. I know that kind of stuff happens.
I mean, just look at my career.
I was just going to say,
I'm not a first officer.
What are you talking about?
People don't always get promoted when one person leaves. They sometimes just bring somebody else in and fills that.
I know, that is true,
but
it is Starfleet. So they might. But especially with Saru's actions during their time in the Mirror Universe, that would basically make him very tantalizing in the eyes of Starfleet as a captain. And they wouldn't have to have someone come in and get acquainted with the crew and figure out how they're going to run things and all of that. So I think the smart thing to do would be to promote Saru. And if they don't, can you imagine how he's going to feel after already being passed over for first officer by Georgiou when she promoted Burnham instead of him as first officer?
Yeah, well, Dan in the chat says Burnham becomes captain and Saru sits in the corner and cries.
Unless they...
It's gonna be hard to put her in that position, right?
There's still the whole mutiny thing, and there's still... I mean, they could exonerate her for that, but I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen. I don't know that they'll put her back in jail, but I don't know that they would just, pull a Star Trek 2009 and put her straight to captain. So... that's just my feeling. But anyway, you want to talk about final thoughts? Let's talk about final thoughts. You go ahead first.
Do you want me to go first or you? What? Okay, final thoughts. As we've been watching Discovery, every episode that comes out, I think, oh, I like this one even better. Or this is... Well, I don't even think this is just as good. I keep thinking every episode gets better. However, I didn't feel that way this time. And it's not that I didn't feel like this episode was good. I think there was just so much information there that had me thinking that I was too busy thinking things while I was watching it, that I was missing things. And I thought, okay, I definitely have to rewatch this again because I feel like I'm missing pieces because I'm thinking too much. And so I didn't really get to take in the episode as much as I've done in past ones. And it was shorter. So it just seemed to kind of just go by really quick. And I was just trying to take it all in and had to do a rewatch. And that's not a complaint. I'm just saying that was my experience that has been different from other experiences watching the episode. But obviously, I've really enjoyed it for all the reasons we're talking about. If anything, it made I was a little disappointed to find that Lorca is from the mirror universe. I know that's a theory that's been out there, and I was kind of hoping they wouldn't go in that direction. But the fact that they did has actually made things more interesting now for me. Like, for example, me theorizing on some things. So I liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot as well.
you?
And I, too, was disappointed that Lorca was Mirror Lorca. And I think I already expressed that earlier in this episode. In the same way that I was disappointed that Ash was Vogue. But now that it's out, I can stop theorizing about that, and I can focus on other things going on in the episodes. And I agree with you that there was so much information thrown at us during this episode that it is difficult to take it all in one viewing. So when Discovery finishes its first season run, I am going to go back and just binge all of them in a row and see how I feel then and see what I missed. Because even with any television show, there are going to be things that you miss with just one viewing. You're not going to pick up on every single nuance the first one run through, which is why we have these discussions. People pick up on different things. And so I think that I will benefit so much from rewatching all of these once they're all out and having that complete season to look back on and say, now I can tell you what I think about this. So, but I really enjoyed it, even during the uncomfortable moments of eating ganglia. Oh, poor Michael's face when she's eating it. She almost spews. She really does almost spews. She acted that brilliantly. Well done, Sonequa. Well done.
She did. It reminds me of myself when I eat in the cafeteria at my office. I feel that way. So, the fact that you're saying the rewatch, especially after this episode when we found out about Lorca, all these other things have been revealed too in past episodes. I think that's what's going to be so beautiful when you rewatch the whole series, because now you're looking at a different perspective because you know where these characters are going and who they really are.
Yes, I agree with that completely, which is why with movies, like the superhero movies, the big Star Wars movies and blockbusters, etc., I like to see them more than once, because once I've seen it, now I'm not worrying about what's going to happen next. Now I can focus on other things. And more often than not, my second watch is a lot more fun than even my first one. Even if I had a great time during that first watch, my second one is almost always better because I'm not worried about what's coming next. I know what's coming next, so I can focus on these other little nuances that they put in the film or television show or whatever. So I'm a huge fan of rewatching things.
Yeah, I think when we especially get to that episode where Lorca and Tyler meet for the first time, these are two characters that we now know who aren't really who they were supposed to be, and I'm going to be watching that, wondering, does Lorca know for some reason who Tyler really is Vogue? And he wants, it's like there's just so much that we're going to read into.
True, but I did always say that escape was too easy. They let us go.
Yeah.
It's the only possible explanation for the ease of our escape. Look, I'm doing it again. Somebody please stop me. I'm so sorry.
The force is with you. So, also in that episode, I remember people saying about Lorca leaving mud behind. And they're like, Starfleet officer wouldn't leave mud behind, somebody behind. And now we know he was not. He's a mirror universe.
Well,
Lorca, so there's
Kirk
so many
has
things
left
like
Mud
that
to his
throughout
fate
the
more than once. But anyway.
Exactly. And I think Kirk's probably from the mirror universe himself. No, I don't. I don't think that. I think William Shatner is, but not Kirk. No, I'm kidding. Why don't you close us out? Because I'm really interested on how you're going to do it.
And I'm going to run out of things to do at some point. But this week, I'm going to do it in what I call my ambient voice. So be sure to check out our Discovery coverage throughout the week. Live from the Edge airs on Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern and will be released as a podcast on Tuesday mornings. Our commentary with Mike Schindler will be available as Tracks from the Edge on Wednesday. We'll discuss your feedback on Postcards from the Edge with Amy on Thursday. And you can catch full analysis on the Edge main show on Friday. To wrap up the week, join us for Notes from the Edge on Saturday with our own Chris Jones for links between Discovery and the broader franchise. You'll find all of these in the main feed for the Edge and in the Trek.fm master feed. We would love to hear your thoughts on Discovery. The best place to do that is the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook. There, Amy Nelson will collect your feedback for Postcards from the Edge. You can also find us on Twitter at TrekFM. Or send us email using the contact form on our website at trek.fm/contact. Choose to send to a show and choose the Edge. We'd also like to thank our associate producers, Norman C. Lau, Tony Robinson, Thomas Paleo, Lisa Slack, Shoab Mirza, Richard Rutledge, and Cornelia Reutner. If you'd like to help us keep all of our shows going and even become an AP, visit patreon.com/trekfm for all the details. You still awake?
Wow.
Everybody's going to use that.
If I'm going to take that recording.
Everybody's going to use that for ASMR. And it's just like, Brandi talking like this.
That was very good. So Brandi, where can people find you
can
online?
always find me here on Live from the Edge when a new Discovery episode happens. And then you can find me on Warp 5 every week. Yes, we're gone weekly on Warp 5. And those episodes come out on Fridays. And then you can also find me in the Babel Conference. You can find me on Twitter as Brandywine12. That's Brandi with an I. And you can find me on the Dark Corner podcast on strangeanddeadly.com with my husband Dave and many colorful metaphors. Bruce, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, you can find me on this show when we're live, like we're doing right now. But outside of that, well, you can find me on Twitter at Admiral_Rex. And you can find me on the network here on Trek FM on a show called Literary Treks, where we discuss Star Trek books and comics that we've read together as one big happy family, me and Dan Gunther. I call him, I read a chapter, he calls me and reads a chapter. It's beautiful. And then we discuss it on the show. You can also find me occasionally on the 602 Club, because I'll be on there in a recent episode about Black Lightning, that pilot episode on the CW show with Matt Rushing. And, oh, I'm sorry, got a little too excited there. And you can find me in, And you can find me talking Star Wars on the Star Wars Report podcast on StarWarsReport.com. And you can always find me in the Babel Conference. That's Babel, Babel, into the search bar if you want to look for it on Facebook. Hey, we only have 3 more episodes left of Discovery, and we thank everyone for joining us this evening in the chat and tweeting to us, especially to Rebecca Skipper. And no one posted on Facebook. That's fine. But that's just an option. Patrick did say he was going to join us, and he did in Facebook. He joined us in the chat on YouTube, so that's cool. So, yeah. So I'll let you do the closing of the live long and prosper. Is that right?
Keep calm and disco on.